Futures. A futures contract is an agreement to supply a certain commodity at a fixed price in the future. The seller of a futures contract agrees to deliver a commodity on a fixed date. The buyer of a futures contract agrees to purchase the underlying item on a fixed date. These futures commitments, assumed by both parties, apply to a standard amount of a certain commodity and will be fulfilled on a specified future date at a price predetermined at the time of entering into the futures contract. The most common futures contracts are for natural gas, oil, gasoline, gold, grain, currency, steel, cotton and lumber. Thousands of market players trade futures every day. All of these traders try to make profit by speculating in futures and using the classic strategy of buy low, sell high. Futures contracts are traded in futures exchanges. The most well-known futures exchanges are the New York Mercantile Exchange, the Chicago Board of Trade, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the London-based International Petroleum Exchange, now ICE Futures Europe, the London International Financial Futures Exchange, the London Metal Exchange. The process of futures trading is similar to trading in the currency market. The key principles of technical and fundamental analysis relevant to Forex also apply to the futures market, with the same indicators and chart patterns, and the same rules for placing orders. However, futures trading is somewhat different in certain aspects. A position on a currency pair may technically stay open forever. That is, if you have once bought pounds for dollars, you can hold that position for months or even years. Conversely, a futures contract has an expiration date. If a trader has not closed out a position by that particular date, it will be force closed by the system at the final price on the day of contract maturity. A standard futures contract code consists of several elements. The first letters in an abbreviation refer to a commodity, for example, natural gas, while the next two symbols correspond to the month and year of settlement. For example, NGJ6 stands for a futures contract for natural gas, where NG means natural gas, J is for April, and 6 is for 2016. The most liquid futures are the contracts with a maturity closest to the expiration date, as their market prices are very close to the real prices of the underlying assets, so the chance of sharp price swings is rather low. Direct exchange of various commodities, that implies physical delivery of goods, can only be performed through futures exchanges. So price movements of a futures contract are determined by real trades between real sellers and buyers. Specifications for every futures contract are standardized and the prices mean the same thing to everyone on the market. Over the recent few years, many Forex brokers have also introduced brokerage services for market participants trading in futures. Forex traders cannot influence the price of a futures contract in any way. All they can do is to accept the quote set by the market and speculate on price differences.